Hey guys, this is Bobby at East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Greenville, North Carolina. Today I wanted to give you a pretty thorough check over on the new Jeep Cherokee. So I've got a 2026 Jeep Cherokee Overland behind me here, and really nice vehicle. One thing that I will say right off the bat is that the ride quality on this is really surprising. The ride quality, probably one of the better riding SUVs in recent times of the Jeep line. And normally people will look at a Jeep and think that looks like it's going to ride rough. Just the Jeep logo sometimes is enough for people to turn away because they remember the old Jeep Wranglers and the old Jeep Cherokees of yesteryear. But these Jeeps, they ride like a luxury SUV. The new Stella platform really helps the ride quality, which has a couple benefits beyond just the ride quality. It's a hybrid, not a plug-in hybrid like the previous generation 4xEs. This one is just going to activate on its own. Essentially the plug-in hybrids have been discontinued, and this model now will get you 39 miles per gallon in city, which is pretty phenomenal for an SUV. So one of the other benefits being that it being a hybrid, that Stella platform puts that battery basically in the center, in the bottom, and so it gives it that lower center of gravity, which helps the vehicle hug the road and makes it just ride better. Ultimately, one of the better riding SUVs I've got on the lot, and that's compared to the Grand Cherokee and even some of the Lincolns I have here available. So a couple things that I think are worth mentioning: the Overland, of course, being as well equipped as you can get on these. You've got the perforated interior. This interior is super nice, very comfortable. You got heated and cooled seats. You've got your rotary dial shifter now, similar to what you would see in the Wagoneer, the Grand Cherokee, and the Rams. You've got your 12.3-inch touchscreen display with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and so basically streamlined across the product line. You'll see that type of screen now, and just nice elements. This one does have your memory settings, and you're going to have extras like in the back, heated seats, and you'll also see down here you've got your USB-C plugs plus an inverter for your 110 volt type outlet. You plug in and charge something like a computer or fast charge your phone. Has the Alpine stereo, so really nice stereo. Your power lift gate, which in the back here, this is a mid-size SUV. For the longest time in the Jeep lineup, we've only had the compact, which is the Jeep Compass, or you had the full size, which is the Grand Cherokee. Now, this one has your full size spare back here, and of course, being a brand new Jeep, you do get full factory warranty, so a 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty. That would also include your roadside assistance during that time. So if you ever do have a flat, all you got to do is hit the button in the Jeep or call the 800 number, and you get that during the duration of your powertrain warranty. You also get your 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper type warranty, and the hybrid battery is covered for 8 years or 100,000 miles. So a lot of coverage, but of course brand new Jeep, you kind of expect that sort of thing. But you can see you got your LED daytime running lamps. This has the black top, so a little bit more stylish in my opinion with the Overland, and just a Jeep that beckons to be driven. I would definitely drive one of these if you're considering. I think it'll outweigh everything once you get behind the wheel of one of these. It just is a phenomenal drive, and this new style, just like in our Dodge Charger and then the Wagoneer S, that handle that's basically a button push instead of a traditional handle that you pull. Inside, we'll take a look at a couple things here. So you got your full 12-inch digital cluster here, which Maneuvering through this page is a little different than our other product line, but you can see across the top here there is some different options to scroll between, your vehicle options as far as seeing all your different gauges, your pressures and voltages and oil life, that sort of thing. You can see the off-road pages on this one, which will give you the pitch and roll, and then also what four-wheel drive mode you might be in. These Jeeps are all four-wheel drive, so essentially it will engage when it's necessary, but you can take a look at these different off-road type settings, and also of course customize your screen to show a certain way, and then you can see your radio as well as your trip meter, just all the normal things you would expect in your vehicle to be able to view, but I'm gonna put it back to something more traditional here, and we'll put the driver information, so you can see that you do have your driver assist, your adaptive cruise. This one has hands-on driver assist, so if you have your adaptive cruise turned on and you turn on your active drive assist, this will actually, when you activate this button, it'll keep you in the turns, more than just as a safety feature, keeping you in the lines. You know, you do have your active lane assist, which it would have to be on for it to fully manage your driving, but it does require some interaction, and so you have to keep your hand on the wheel. It does not have eye tracking like our hands-free driving assist, but you can see you got your flat bottom steering here as well, which is pretty cool. I think it adds a little bit extra room for bigger knees and thighs, but also just aesthetically a little nicer looking. They did put some buttons down here, which is as opposed to dials, but you got your button for your fuel lid, which hybrids have a pressurized fuel system, so that's why you have a button for it. You can turn on and off your high beams, and you got your auto headlamps, which most people are going to keep that on, and then your fog lamps right here. So a little bit different. You can also change how bright or dim your screen is, and then of course in the bottom here you got your parking brake, which used to be for the Cherokee in the middle, but this moved like the Grand Cherokee and Wagoneer, and then you have your hatch button to be able to open that from inside. So essentially the sorts of things you would expect, but this one does have your memory settings. So once you find your seat, your mirrors, as well as your radio presets, and save that in, and you can actually customize your profile in this screen. So there's a lot of customization that can be done, essentially like the Grand Cherokee and our other products that share this same screen, but the screen's very intuitive, and you do have buttons on the side here to quickly access your heated and cooled seats and your heated steering wheel, as well as you can tap into the little corner here and activate it that way. I like being able to go to that screen because you can quickly, no matter what page you're at, change your temperature as opposed to going down here and tapping. And one thing that is nice about these buttons though is that they're tactile, so you can feel it. When you touch this button, it'll have a little vibration, this haptic feedback, basically just keeping you aware that you hit that button, and it'll light up of course as you tap on it. But you know, everybody's preference is different. I think these haptic buttons are pretty nice, and it keeps it looking streamlined. But going into the screen a little further here, you do have essentially full screen versions of your main apps here, your main home screen sidebar buttons, your media button, which will bring you to your radio or your Bluetooth, which I think most people probably are going to substitute their phone button here with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and have that going across the screen, because Apple CarPlay always has updated maps. Now nowadays the navigation, while maybe underutilized, is still very functional. You have a GPS antenna, and so if you're out of the grid and you've got, you know, a trail you're on or something like that, and you want to be able to know where you're at, well, you don't have to have cell phone signal for this navigation to work. And this being a Jeep, people can of course take it on off-road trails and that sort of thing. Not necessarily ideal for it compared to, say, like a Wrangler that's designed for off-road, but you do have some off-road capabilities, so like your low gear setting, for instance, which will allow you to be in a more solid off-road situation if you're in sticky situations and that sort of thing, in some deeper mud, that low gear can lock you in and make it easier to traverse. And then you do have of course, your rotary dial shifter, but you have your paddle here to be able to go into more off-road modes, like your sport, auto, snow will put you in second gear and make it less chance of wheel slippage, and keep the wheels in a more all-wheel drive type bias. And then you have your sand mud mode, which will be more of like a lock type situation to keep your wheels engaged so that you can get out of a stickier situation. But I won't go too much further in depth on this screen. I've done it in a couple other videos, but you do have some nice little touches on the hybrid to be able to see, for instance, your pitch and roll, your select terrain, which gives you a visual on what particular off-road mode you're in. And so you can see that there, as well as in your gauge cluster, so you get a little visual feedback telling you that. And I'm gonna put it back in auto. And then you can also pull up your forward-facing camera when you have your 360 cam, so you can make that traverse through a trail a little easier. And then your hybrid pages, which will give you a little bit more insight on your driving habits and how you can maybe increase your fuel economy by being a little easier on the pedal and your braking. This does have regenerative braking, like most hybrids. This regeneration is basically giving you an idea of how much power you're regaining from that. So lots of little neat things in the screen that you can adjust that are kind of newer, especially when you're looking at these next generation, either Chargers or Cherokees. So you can see your autonomy as far as all your sensors working and their statuses. But in general, I think probably most people will only come to this screen for a moment and be back to your standard screen, which would be like your CarPlay, or maybe if you are into the nav screen here, this nav, which powered by TomTom, I will say it is very useful. Beyond a couple little quirks that I've found, like the red light cameras here in town, being like they're deactivated, but you'll still get a beep every now and then to let you know that it used to be there. So I usually tell people how to turn it off. And then, you got a little storage area. The wireless charge pad, though, is in a little bit different place. So it's down here. So I know that's a little different for folks, but you put your phone in here and it has little grippers. So you can run a cable down if you wanted to hardwire the charging in, but it's in a place where it kind of keeps it out of sight, which I think is actually a good thing. People don't need to be on their phones while they're driving. And of course, a little book and different sort of materials. You can see your leather wrap here on top on the Overland trim. And you do have the little button here to exit, so you hit the button to be able to get out of the door. You can see it has this little emergency latch, though, in case you happen to lose power, you can still get out of these. Obviously, hope that sort of situation doesn't happen, but it does have the fail-safe for being able to get out. And ultimately, very safe vehicles. I will say that I've been impressed with the Jeep Cherokee. I think overall is a really nice design. It really, I think, takes full advantage of that Stella platform that the Dodge Charger and the Wagoneer S had. This one meets more practical purposes and a little bit better price point for people, because they start in the 30s. Now this one is in the upper 40s. It's 47 and some change MSRP, so not necessarily going to be everybody's choice when it comes to SUV in this class. It's very aggressively priced, though, because you have to consider this is paired along with to be competitive with the GMC Terrain, not the Acadia. That's more paired to be competitive with our Grand Cherokee. So, when you compare the Acadia prices to the Cherokee, it's not really fair. You got to compare this to the Terrain prices, which is actually close to the Denali version of that. So anyways, I wanted to give you a more full overview of the Cherokee, and hopefully this helps you make a decision. I would say for sure take this Jeep for a drive. It will, I think, impress most people. The Jeep Grand Cherokee is our flagship vehicle and probably our best seller, but I'll be honest with you, I actually prefer the ride of the Jeep Cherokee over the Grand Cherokee. And it's not quite as much power, not as much get up and go. It's a little bit smaller 4-cylinder. However, the ride quality is really outstanding, and the features in something like this Overland or equivalent to what you'd find in a luxury vehicle. So you can get a lot of Jeep for the money in the new Jeep Cherokee. But if you're in the market, let me know. Come find me here at East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Greenville, North Carolina. I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a great day. Thanks so much.